Good morning. Hello, you. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. This is Bookeemonsters, and my name is PK. Monday through Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we look at the new releases each week, and we gotta know what's out there. Good morning, Mary. Happy Thursday. Let me get my hair's cut today. Oh, I gotta go several weeks now. I hope it goes well. Did you have a good night? I finished my book on the sprints last night, and I was going to go back to the romance I was reading, but now I'm not in the mood for it. So, and I'm such a mood reader, so I'm not sure what I'm going to be reading next. So let's look at some new releases. Our time is going by fast. Let me quiet that down. And today we're going to be looking at regular fiction. These are the ones they're listing. A lot of green, a lot of warm colors here. All right. A Day of Fire, a novel of Pompeii by several authors, it looks like. But the main one here listed is Kate Quinn. Pompeii was a lively resort flourishing in the shadow of Mount Vesuvius at the height of the Roman Empire. When Vesuvius erupted in an explosion of flame and ash, the entire town would be destroyed. Some of its citizens died in the chaos, some escaped the mountain's wrath, and these are their stories. A boy loses his innocence in Pompeii's flourishing streets. An heiress dreads her wedding day, not knowing it will be swallowed by fire. An ex-legionary stakes his entire future on a gladiator bout destined never to be finished. A crippled senator welcomes death until a tomboy on horseback comes to his rescue. A young mother faces an impossible choice for her unborn child as the ash falls. You know I like history. I don't know if that's the executing one. Sorry to cut out early last night during reading. Oh, you're fine. Had something come up and I had to take care of immediately. All okay. Good. Good. Well, that's okay. Life goes on. We do sprints a lot, and that's okay. We're secondary. Pompeii one. It sounds interesting. I just hope it's executed well. California Golden, a novel by Melanie Benjamin. Southern California, 1960s. Endless sunny days surfing in Malibu, followed by glittering neon nights at the Whiskey A Go-Go. In an era when women are expected to be housewives, Carol Donnelly is breaking the mold as a legendary female surfer. Somebody's copying Taylor Reid. Struggling to compete in a male-dominated sport, and her daughters, Mindy and Ginger, bear the weight of her unconventional lifestyle. The Donnelly sisters grow up enduring their mother's absence, physically when she's at the beach, and emotionally the rare time she's at home. To escape questions about Carol's whereabouts and chase their mom's elusive affection, they cut school to spend their days in the surf. From her first time on a board, Mindy shows a natural talent, but Ginger, 2 years younger, feels out of place in the water. As they grow up and their lives diverge, Mindy and Ginger's relationship ebbs and flows. Mindy finds herself swept up in celebrity, complete with beachside love affairs, parties at the Playboy Club, the USO tours to Vietnam. Meanwhile, Ginger, desperate for a community of her own, is tugged into the vibrant counterculture of drugs and cults. Through it all, their sense of duty to each other survives, as the girls are forever connected by the emotional damage they carry from their unorthodox childhood. A gripping emotional story set at a time when mothers were expected to be Donna Reed, not Gidget, California Golden is an unforgettable novel about three women living in a society that was shifting as tempestuously as the breaking waves. All right, Jennifer Chavirini, Canary Girls. She's a solid writer. Early in the Great War, men left Britain's factories in droves to enlist. Struggling to keep up production, arsenals hired women to build the weapons the military urgently needed. Be the girl behind the man behind the gun, the recruitment posters beckoned. Thousands of women, cooks, maids, shop girls, and housewives answered their nation's call. These munitionettes worked grueling shifts, often 7 days a week, handling TNT and other explosives with little protective gear. Among them is 19-year-old former housemaid April Tipton. Impressed by her friend Marjorie's descriptions of higher wages, plentiful meals, and comfortable lodgings, she takes a job at Thornshire arsenal near London, filling shells in the Danger Building, difficult, dangerous, and absolutely essential work. Joining them is Lucy Dempsey, wife of Daniel Dempsey, Olympic gold medalist and star forward of Tottenham Hotspur. With Daniel away serving in the footballers' battalion, Lucy resolves to do her bit to hasten the end of the war. When her co-workers learn she is a footballer's wife, they invite her to join the Arsenal Ladies Football Club, the Thornshire Canaries. The Canaries soon acquire an unexpected fan in the boss's wife, Helen Purcell, who is deeply troubled by reports that danger building workers suffer from serious unexplained illnesses. One common symptom, the lurid yellow hue of their skin, earns them the nickname Canary Girls. Suspecting a connection between the Canary Girls' maladies and the chemicals they handle, Helen joins the Arsenal administration as their staunchest, though often unappreciated, advocate. The football pitch is the one place where class distinctions and fears for the men fall away. As the war grinds on and tragedy takes its toll, the Canary Girls persist despite the dangers, proud to serve, determined to outlive the war and rejoice in victory and peace. It sounds good. There might be a lot going on in there. I don't know. She's a good writer, though. Hangman, a novel by Maya Binyam. That's an interesting cover. An enthralling and original first novel about exile, diaspora, and the impossibility of Black refuge in America and beyond. In the morning, I received a phone call and was told to board a flight. The arrangements had been made on my behalf. I packed no clothes because my clothes had been packed for me. A car arrived to pick me up. A man returns home to sub-Saharan Africa after 26 years in America. When he arrives, he finds that he doesn't recognize the country or anyone in it. Thankfully, someone recognizes him, a man who calls him brother, setting him on a quest to find his real brother who is dying. In Hangman, Maya Binyam tells the story of that search and the phantoms, guides, tricksters, bureaucrats, debtors, taxi drivers, relatives, riddles, and strangers that will lead to the truth. See, that's why I have issues with just plain fiction. There's a whole lot of angst with not a whole lot of purpose. But that's just me. And that's why there's books for everybody. Mrs. Porter Calling by A.J. Pierce. Cover already has me intrigued. London, April 1943. A little over a year since she married Captain Charles Mayhew and he went away to war. Emmy Lake is now in charge of Yours Cheerfully, the hugely popular advice column in Women's Friend magazine. Cheered on by her friend Bunty, Emmy is dedicated to helping readers face the increasing challenges brought about by over 3 years of war. The postbags are full and Women's Friend is thriving. But Emily's world is turned upside down when glamorous socialite, the Honorable Mrs. Cressida Porter, becomes the new publisher of the magazine and wants to change everything the readers love. Aided by Mrs. Pye, a Paris-obsessed fashion editor with delusions of grandeur, and Small Winston, the grumpiest dog in London, Mrs. Porter fills the pages with expensive clothes and frivolous articles about her friends. Worst of all, she announces that she's cutting the Yours Cheerfully column, and her vision for the publication's future seems dire. With the stakes higher than ever, Emmy and her friends must find a way to save the magazine that they love. That's potential, anyway. PC Cast, Out of the Dawn. Sorry, coffee's required. A lot of coffee. It's Thursday. We're not Friday yet. Out of the Dawn by PC Cast. Practical magic meets station living in this pulse-pounding, post-apocalyptic thriller about the power of women. Mercury roads and her world were utterly changed when the bombs fell, releasing the green mist. While it proved deadly to all the men who breathed it in, it gave new life to women who did the same. The green mist provided each member of her newfound family an ability. Stella's heightened intuition, Amani's earthly connection, Karen's bond with spirit, and Gemma's healing ability. Although Mercury now has incredible physical strength, she doesn't know if she will be strong enough for what comes next, especially after the death of Ford, their companion through the aftermath of the mist. The group finds respite in creating a small community in the John Day Fossil Preserve near the Painted Hills in Oregon. Together they hope to find a place where they can start over and rebuild a better world. But Mercury knows it won't be that simple, not when she knows someone or something is hunting them, something that wants to rule the ruins of the world, and something who sees Mercury as a threat that must be eliminated. Mercury must have will have to muster all her strength if she's to fight for a new dawn. The fate of her friends and the world depend on it. That should not be in straight fiction. That should be in sci-fi fantasy, in my humble opinion. But who am I? I'm just a reader. Shark Heart, a love story by Emily Habeck. Debut novel of marriage, motherhood, metamorphosis, and letting go. This intergenerational love story begins with newlyweds Wren and her husband Lewis, a man who, over the course of 9 months, transforms into a great white shark. Okay. For Lewis and Wren, their first year of marriage is also their last. A few weeks after the wedding, Lewis receives a rare diagnosis. He will retain most of his consciousness, memories, and intellect, but his physical body will gradually turn into a great white shark. As Lewis develops the features and impulses of one of the most predatory creatures in the ocean, his complicated artist's heart struggles to make peace with his unfulfilled dreams. At first, Wren internally resists her husband's fate. Is there a way for them to be together after Lewis changes? Probably not. Then a glimpse of Lewis's developing carnivorous nature activates long repressed memories for Wren, whose story vacillates between her childhood living on a houseboat in Oklahoma, her time with a college ex-girlfriend, and her unusual friendship with a woman pregnant with twin birds. Whoa. Woven throughout this bold novel is the story of Wren's mother, Angela, who becomes pregnant with Wren at 15 in an abusive relationship amidst her parents' crumbling marriage. In the present, all of Wren's grief eventually collides, and she's forced to make an impossible choice. Sorry, not a book for me. Again, it's for somebody, not for me. Sparrow by James Hines. In a brothel on the Spanish coast during the waning years of the Roman Empire. Hold on. We're talking about history. You got me. A young enslaved boy of unknown parentage is growing up. His world is a kitchen, then an herb-scented garden, followed by a loud and dangerous tavern, and finally the mysterious upstairs where the wolves do their business. The wolves, named after the muses and coming from across the vast empire, are Sparrow's surrogate family. They are his mothers and his sisters, his guides in a rough life, his solace from it. When he is not being told stories by his beloved Euterpe, he runs errands for her lover, the cook, while trying to avoid the blows of their brutal overseer or the machinations of the chief wolf, Melpomene. But a hard fate awaits Sparrow, one that involves suffering, murder, mayhem, and the scattering of the little community that has been his whole world. Hines brings the entirety of a Roman city to vivid life, recreating old pagan Rome as its codes and morals give way before the new religion of Christianity, and introduces readers to one of the most powerfully affecting and memorable characters of recent fiction. Yeah, maybe. The Heaven and Earth Grocery Store by James McBride. Something's That's why I don't like straight fiction. It's not my favorite. Give me a quest. Solve the crime, get the girl, save the world or kingdom. There's a purpose. These others, I don't know. I could not be an editor, a book editor probably, or a publisher, or whoever is the acquirer of books, because I'd be going, are you serious? Royalty? Heaven and Earth Grocery Store by James McBride. In 1972, when workers in Pottstown, Pennsylvania were digging the foundations for a new development, the last thing they expected to find was a skeleton at the bottom of a well. Who the skeleton was and how it got there were two of the long-held secrets kept by the residents of Chicken Hill, the dilapidated neighborhood where immigrant Jews and African Americans lived side by side and shared ambitions and sorrows. Chicken Hill was where Moshe and Chona Ludlow lived when Moshe integrated his theater, where Chona ran, it's probably pronounced very differently, I apologize, ran the Heaven and Earth grocery store. When the state came looking for a deaf boy to institutionalize him, it was Chona and Nate Timblin, the black janitor at Moshe's theater and the unofficial leader of the black community on Chicken Hill, who worked together to keep the boy safe. As these character stories overlap and deepen, it becomes clear how much the people who live on the margins of white Christian America struggle and what they must do to survive. When the truth is finally revealed about what happened on Chicken Hill and the part that town's white establishment played in it. McBride shows us that even in the dark times, it is love and community, heaven and earth that sustain us. All right. Tomb Sweeping by Alexandra Chang. Or Chong? Chang? Short stories. I'm not interested in short stories, but anybody who would like to check that out can go check that out. Under the Influence by Noelle Crooks. After a series of go-nowhere jobs in the New York publishing world, Harper Cruz is broke, lonely, and desperate for a salary that won't leave her scrambling to make rent each month. So when she stumbles across a job posting from an influencer offering triple her last paycheck, she automatically submits her resume. Harper may not be familiar with self-help guru Charlotte Green, but her relentless optimism and charismatic can-do spirit has created a cult-like following of women across the country. When she selects Harper among the thousands of other applicants in less than 24 hours, it's obvious she sees something she likes. Despite the pressure to accept the offer just as quickly as she's been given it, Harper decides to take a leap of faith and become the newest member of the greenhouse. Accepting the job means a move to Nashville, and Harper is quickly dazzled by the glamorous world Charlotte has built in Music City. Greenhouse is more than a workplace, it's a family, and Harper soon finds herself swept into its inner circle. At first, she loves working in such an inspirational environment where mandatory dance parties, daily intentions, and group bonding activities make up for long hours and Charlotte's persistent demands for loyalty. But the deeper Harper is pulled into Charlotte's world, the more she realizes that having it all and doing it all comes with a price. Under the Influence by Noelle Crooks. Some of these that have the strangest stories, I'm thinking of like Shark Heart and so forth, will probably win awards. They will probably win the literary awards and stuff. That's why there's a lot of books out there, because there's books for everybody. The Roman story sounds pretty interesting. It does. There's a couple interesting things in there. Let's see. Okay, that's definitely for next week. Let's see if there's any other. I want to go in here. Fantasy fiction in translation. Nope. Nonfiction. Nope. All right. I think that's it for that website. Let's go back to this is the one with the cozy mysteries. We finished the ones that were listed for the 8th, and this site lists, which is official release day, Tuesdays. But they also have some listed here for other days of this week that we can take a look at. Cauldrons and Cats by Christine Pope, second in a series. X marks the murder scene, or does it? New relationships can be fraught with emotional missteps. Charity Hughes' awkward encounter with Shelby Howard, Noah Jenkins' ex, at his front door certainly qualifies, but as they're clearing up that sort of minor misunderstanding, a new challenge enters Charity's shop, a witch's cat familiar pining for the impossible, kittens of her own. The kitty conundrum takes a backseat when a frantic Shelby calls with a rather pointed problem. An ex-fiance dead on her living room floor, run through with an antique sword. Now the prime suspect, Shelby begs Charity for help to prove her innocence. There's just one problem. Using magic to solve the case risks outing her as a witch to the public, including Noah. But Charity brings all her somewhat inconsistent abilities to bear in the investigation, even calling on Milo, the spaniel familiar, to nose around. But it's the tarot that cuts through the static towards a culprit who's definitely not an ex anything. It's someone who opens a whole new kit and caboodle of lies. Well, if you want to have a relationship, you got to tell them that you are a witch. Like I say, you can tell Halloween is gearing up. You got all these Halloween. Yeah, people do read them all year round too. Treats, tricks, and trespassing. Of course, next month we'll be seeing all the Christmas ones. Looks to be this is by Kathleen Suzette. Looks to be the first in a new series. Rather short, but it is Kindle Unlimited. In the whimsical town of Pumpkin Hollow, where every day is Halloween, sisters and local business owners Mia and Christy run the Pumpkin Hollow Candy Store. Beyond the counter filled with jars of candy corn, chocolate pumpkins, and gummy ghoul displays, the sisters share an unexpected hobby, solving the quirky town's most puzzling crimes. With Halloween approaching, Mia and Christy find themselves wrapped in a sinister mystery when a victim is discovered in the House of Horrors, an abandoned, cobweb-laden mansion that haunts the minds of the town's residents. Known for the rumors about its chilling history and eerie aura, the mansion was the last place they expected to find a case, yet now it's at the center of a perplexing puzzle. As the countdown to Halloween begins, Mia and Christy must unravel a web of secrets as dark as the chocolate they dip their candy apples in. With clues hidden amongst the town's eccentric characters and the clock ticking, the sisters must navigate the labyrinth of Halloween decorations and candy coated chaos before the killer strikes again. That came out on the 9th, so yesterday. And they are saying these are coming out today. The Peculiar Vanishing Act of Mr. Ralph Harriet. Where are we at? Oh, we only got a couple more minutes. Also Kindle Unlimited. Oh, look at that. Victorian Cozy. Cotswold industrious vanishing off the face of the earth, a heat-affected widow on her first vacation, a female archaeologist digging too deeply. You got me with some interesting things here. Cairo, June 1896. Lady Catherine Lowther is simply irresistible. But when Catherine announces her cousin Imogene must vacation with her at the famous Shepherd's Hotel in Cairo, Imogene fights the ludicrous proposal with tooth and nail. Finally, back in her own house in Landleton and still mourning Thaddeus, her constable husband, all Imogene wants is to be left alone. But does she really? Cairo is hot, hoity-toity, and hazardous, as Imogen soon finds out, jam-packed with British officers, aristocrats, and self-made millionaires. The last persons she expects to run into are Mr. Ralph Harriet, the opulent Dartmouth industrialist, and his self-important wife, Winifred. Until Ralph Harriet disappears during a visit to an excavation site at the pyramids, and a hysterical Winifred begs Mrs. Lynch to find her husband for her. What history do Catherine and Ralph share, and does Imogene want to know? And how is it possible that a second Ralph Harriet seems to have taken over the Dartmouth factory, claiming he's the actual owner? Far away from home and without her constable husband to assist her, Mrs. Imogene Lynch must tap into all her detective knowledge and skills to solve the peculiar vanishing act of Mr. Ralph Harriet. Sounds cute. All right, we are out of time. So we will pick up again tomorrow with the Danglers. Bell's a bell. I know. Oh, we run out of time. I could talk about books all day, but I appreciate Mary that you came. You're the best. And anybody else who shows up and is just lurking, I appreciate you too. And people who watch this later, because it is early. I'm a morning person. I'm glad that you're able to visit, and I appreciate you too. Make a note in the comment if you see what you're liking, what you're seeing, and so forth. If you like, hit the like button there. Subscribe if you want to know when we're doing sprints and other things. We will be doing sprints tonight, 6:05 Mountain, 8:05 Eastern. Bring your own book. We'll do that for 2.5 hours. Other than that, thank you. Have a very good rest of your Thursday. I will see you later. And God bless. Bye bye.